What's up, guys? My name's Tatiana. We are here at the Orlando Game Space for Third Thursdays with Rob Coble of This Is Orlando. It's been a beautiful day so far. We've been interviewing a lot of really amazing people, and we're super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. And
How
a great crowd here right now, too.
A great crowd.
The vibe is incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're really glad that you're here with us.
Thank you.
We've been trying to get you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we've been
Oh,
trying
well,
to get
here
you.
I
We've been
am.
following that hat.
Yeah, there you go. That's like, I've got a hat fetish. I'm trying to bring the hat back, you know.
Bring the hat back. It's appropriate for the summertime.
Well, summer, winter, I think,
Spring,
there's
fall.
a hat for every occasion.
I agree.
So it's kind of like my my addiction. You know,
My
I
strange
find
addiction.
whenever I travel, I find hat shops and stuff. So,
Oh, that's badass.
yeah, so it's always fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What do you gravitate towards when you travel? Like, what do you like
honey,
looking for?
I'm a sundress girl.
Yeah.
Yes,
sundresses.
I'm a sundress girl.
I like stones and like jewels and rings of that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah,
Weird
and
shit.
books and records.
Books
I love
and
going to
records.
bookstores in different
Yeah, no, for
cities
sure.
and stuff. Yeah.
You find good record shops everywhere you go?
Now there is, yeah. I think record shops are making a really good comeback. So you're starting to see a lot
Thankfully.
more. Yeah.
Thankfully.
Well, that's how I got started with my professional career. I started working in record retail, and I did that for about 10 years, and moved into. God, after 25 years, I moved into higher education and technology and doing career services. So, yeah, it was like when the record stores started to decline, it broke my heart because that was like such a part of who I was. And, here in Orlando, we got places like Park Ave CDs that are really kind of the community center, the music community center, and, since I've been going back into a lot more record stores lately, it's been great just to see the activity going on in those stores now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, yeah.
I hope it's not just a nostalgia thing. I hope it's something that continues.
I think it will, and people are still buying CDs and everything, but I was talking to Sandy, the owner of Park Ave, and he described vinyl purchases as it's more of an interactive listening experience.
Yes.
And I
It is
think
much
that's
more
what I love
personal.
about it, because I missed, like, we just got our
Hands-on.
turntable back up and running. We upgraded our stereo equipment for Christmas last year. And for me, taking a brand new album out of the sleeve and like the smell of vinyl.
It's crisp.
And, yeah,
It's
and it's
crisp,
like, and
I
now
know.
they've got those big like 180 gram vinyl pieces that are they're just wonderful.
I know they're selling vinyls at concerts now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Which I'm really excited
The
about
merch
that.
table, man.
There you go.
Vinyl at the merch table. Wax will not die. I firmly believe that vinyl will not die.
No, I
do.
think it'll always be here.
Mm-hmm. The
Yeah.
sound is different. I really like the sound of like a crackly vinyl.
Oh yeah.
Like really, it just has so much character.
Well, for people that are audiophiles like Carlos, who produces our podcast, he's trained in sound, so his ears can really hear the difference a lot more than like I can. And when you start compressing things to CDs, you actually lose a little bit off the high and a little bit off the low. I don't notice a difference that much because I just I'm not trained to look for that kind of stuff, but
Right.
he could probably listen to something and really tell you the difference.
Well, I'm glad you actually brought up the podcast. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little more about
Yeah.
that for
Yeah,
sure.
okay. Yeah, so This Is Orlando is our podcast. We've been doing it for about 2 years now. We're starting to hit our stride and really get on a schedule so that we're releasing at least one episode per month.
Nice.
We're about to go to 2 episodes per month, and we're in negotiations right now with our premier sponsor. So we're looking for sponsorship in order for us to be able to help make it grow. And the whole concept of This Is Orlando is I'll try to be brief here because I'll tell you kind of the long version of it. So my family moved here in '79, and I came down here for a year, and I absolutely hated it. And I left, and I came back again in '87, and I lived here for 3 years. And that was like in the height of my kind of like being involved in the music business. There was no music scene here at all, and I hated
Wow.
it. So
Orlando's definitely developed.
That's kind of hard to believe.
well, we came back this time in 2004, and around 2010, it was like I started to notice that, Orlando was turning into this pretty cool place. And if you look now, talking about music, we got 5 or 6 good record stores. We have like a few independent booksellers. We've got tons of venues for music, and we have like this incredible food scene, right? So the whole concept of This Is Orlando is to kind of expose these different communities that are around the metro area and show people that there's a lot more than oranges and mice,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
yeah, and it originally started out as through my work in career services as a vehicle to give university students an opportunity to connect with the industries that they were looking to get hired in.
Okay.
Networking is king, right? Knowledge is power. You got to get out there and meet people and do all that kind of stuff. But then we started expanding it a little bit more. So we cover, a lot of the main tech events. We've done some things on the healthcare community. One of my favorite episodes is my friend Jared Witt is a pastor, Lutheran pastor, that opened a church/brewery.
Holy
Wow.
shit!
Yeah, it's called.
That's the kind of church I
That's
want to
what I'm
go
talking
to.
Well, it is. It's exactly that. It's called the Castle Church Brewery community, and they have, they have regular services on Sunday, and I believe they're starting to add a Wednesday night service.
And then libations.
But yeah, and then like anytime during the week, you can go in there. Their beers actually won awards here in Orlando as the best in Orlando. They're starting to serve their
That's awesome.
beer like in pubs and stuff around town. But it's it's a great safe place for people to go and connect with other people. So he has live music there a lot. They have yoga nights. They do all kinds of stuff. But
Nice.
so it's not just about the university level, but kind of exposing Orlando as it's now a city that people want to live in.
Yeah.
And I know people that
you are
grew up here.
showcasing the boom
Yeah.
of the culture.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
What in your opinion is the most, I guess, prolific of the different, I guess, subcultures of Orlando right now as it stands?
I don't know if this is because of what I do each day and where I sit, or if this is the real answer, but technology and healthcare seem to be the two biggest things.
Definitely,
And,
I'll agree.
yeah, so one of the cool things too, I mean, you've got people that are working to meld these two groups together. And last year I was a part of a game jam that we did that was called the Mega Health Jam. And basically we got together with Kelly Murray, who runs a company called MedSpeaks, and she got a lot of advisors from the healthcare side, doctors, nurses, various healthcare administrators, and people involved with healthcare. And we connected them to the Orlando game community. So Kunal rounded up all the people through his connections here at the game space, and we put these two groups together for a weekend game jam out at the Guidewell Center, and had 17 projects that came out of it.
Holy
And-
shit!
That's
Just that in a weekend.
phenomenal.
Yeah, just in
In
one weekend.
a weekend.
So
Collaboration is key.
yeah, and it's interesting
King.
when you see that, how technology, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, technology, and especially a lot of the game technology, is being used to really help in a lot of areas that you wouldn't think. The gamers get a bad rap as being these kind of nerdy kids that play games all the time, and they're brilliant. For instance, there's one of the doctors that was there, Dr. Akuda, is really passionate about trying to come up with solutions to the opioid crisis. And he was telling us that there have been studies that there are certain experiences in virtual reality that patients can watch and get immersed in that will provide the same pain relief, if not more, than what opioids
Wow.
So almost like
So-
a visual therapy.
do. Yeah, you get, I guess there's certain...
It's like a sensory trigger.
Yes, in like your brain that, once you stop concentrating on that and you start getting immersed into this experience, you'll forget about the pain.
That's very meditative.
It's
actually.
incredible. But there was so many other things too. to see people using some of the interactive like Connect machines to properly rehabilitate, wrist injuries or something by doing certain motions. But they gamified it so it made it a lot more exciting for the patients.
Yeah.
Who wants to go home and
more
have to do their PT? It's like, I don't want to do that. So
Right.
if you make a game out of it, people tend to, get into it a little bit more. So yeah, the food scene here in Orlando is growing. We talked a lot about music when we started our conversation. It surprises me that we don't have a more active kind of live music scene here with as many universities as we have.
That's true.
I mean, like if you go to a city like Austin and you walk down 6th Street, there's live music coming out of every bar,
Right.
every night.
Why do you think that is, though? I have a theory.
I would love to hear it.
What
Okay.
is this theory?
So there's a
She
lot.
has theories for everything.
I
by
do,
the way.
I do. Okay, so there's a lot of live music actually in Orlando, but the thing is, and I don't know if this is a dicey thing to talk about, but in terms of payment for your craft and valuing yourself as an artist, you have to kind of look at yourself as like, okay, well, what am I worth as an artist? A lot of these really, really amazing artists come, and you have from all over genre, like across genres, you have like indie pop, you have rock, you have punk, you have hip hop, you have all these people, but then they are infiltrating the small bar scenes, but they are devaluing their art and they're not getting paid very much. So then when you have the artists who are really, 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 really out here trying to make a lot of money, who do view themselves as artists of tremendous value, they don't really want to be out here because they know that when they go into these bar spaces and when they go into these venues, they're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
They are not going to be treated as they aren't going to be regarded as highly as they
Properly
should.
valued.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've seen that time and time again, and for that reason it deters people from wanting to push their art, to push their music. You know what I mean? And so that's why you see a lot of the same bands over and over who are kind of just, and that's not to devalue them in any way, shape, or form. You got to get your bag, you got to get your money however you want to get it. But that's why you're not seeing so much of a diversity on some of these mainstream venues and platforms, is because a lot of these artists who really do value themselves aren't getting paid really what they deserve.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what you said, and I agree with that to a certain extent. I think there is definitely a paying your dues part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
absolutely. I agree.
Working in the music industry as long as I did and watching bands come up, it's like anything. There's got to be that word of mouth. You got to create that spark.
That
Usually
network.
it starts locally out of so if like a band starts getting hot here in Orlando, generally the next step is it starts to spread to Tampa, maybe up to Gainesville, something like that. And then once it hits Atlanta, now you've got a story. So, trying to do it all on your own is kind of what most bands do these days. And without having, any marketing or any kind of PR behind you, it's going to be really tough. And you're going to have to be really good in order to get the community to start talking about you.
Yeah.
So
I also feel like and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I also feel like part of when you mentioned the pay your dues part, that's kind of why I wanted to interject here. I do feel like maybe the times that we're in, it's sometimes difficult for people to comprehend the level of time that it takes to pay your dues.
Right.
It is longer than people
Instant
anticipate.
gratification. They want
Instant
it.
gratification,
Then
we
and
want it
there.
now, we want it now, but that's just not how it works. Sometimes you have to pay your dues for quite some time before it ends up paying off.
well, and my theory on that is the bands that pay their dues and develop their craft tend to have much better longevity in the industry. When I was with Universal for many years, we had a lot of success with new artists that would come out and hit really big on their first single, and the album would sell pretty well, and then they'd drop their second album and you couldn't give it away, because people were what broke was not the band, the song is what broke.
The quality of the
So,
song.
but if you take bands like I always use Bruce Springsteen and REM as an example.
Okay.
And especially Bruce is a great example because he's one of our most iconic artists now, right? His first 2 albums bombed, like big time. And he got a little bit of critical acclaim and everything, but it wasn't until his 3rd album, Born to Run, came out that he like shot to superstardom. in today's time, most bands either give up or they don't have the support behind them.
Yes, the instant gratification that we had just discussed.
Yeah,
yes.
so like, if Bruce would have come out today and have 2 albums that, from a financial standpoint, bombed, he probably would have never had the opportunity to make Born to Run.
Yeah.
But and it was kind of the same with bands like REM. They gradually built until they finally had that one record that just put them over the top, and then it was pretty smooth sailing since then. But so yeah, it's interesting. There is a band that's happening in Orlando, or that came out of Orlando right now. That, have you guys heard about the Shabooms?
The Shabooms. That name sounds familiar.
It's a really cool record. They describe their sound as garage soul. So imagine
I'm
like a
interested.
real,
I definitely want to hear that.
yeah,
Piqued
like
my
a
interest.
real garage sounding kind of rock, but it's got like a very soulful singer and
The Shabooms.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to remember that.
they're starting to make, they're out on tour, they're going around the country, they've gotten some press that has written about them. But yeah, you would think, especially with all the tourism, there would be a lot more, kind of acts to remember, bands that, would be going places. But
I think that
it is what it is.
I think that too, when you find a community of people that actually wants to support each other, you kind of stick with that community. But a lot of these independent artists don't have that community support, like you're saying, behind them. Like what we're building at the Orlando Game Space is that.
Yeah.
Is that community of people, that network of people who are like, okay, you're an artist, you want to be elevated, well, let's elevate you then. Let's give you a platform to do this. But like you're saying, you're absolutely right. A lot of those independent artists don't have that.
I applaud that. And watching the crowd come in and out today, I've seen a lot of people where, obviously this person is known by everybody. Everybody's hugging. And then I've seen quite a few people walk in where Chad is talking to them, and it's like, oh, this is your first time here. Okay. So, but again, you're kind of in that pain.
That always makes me very
mode.
excited, by the way.
Yeah,
right.
it
When
does.
I always get very excited when I see that, like the new faces that come in.
How did
The
you
new members
hear
of
about
the family.
it? What brought you here? Why are you here? I think there's a platform, or an audience, I should say, for art and food and books and music and everything. It would be great if we had people here, like from the investment community, that were able to invest more in those things.
Absolutely.
Instead of just real estate and tourism.
Say that again.
All the time.
Say it again a little bit louder.
Yeah,
a little bit louder. Yes.
I think there is money to be made here and everything, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm like, that guy sitting here going, bloody tourists and everything. No, because that's a part of who we are, and I think that's great that we have those things, and it draws people.
It's a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
But I really would like to see, more of those tourists and whatnot start to experience what it's like for us here in Orlando, because again, it is so much more than just, theme parks and orange groves.
Yes.
We've got everything right now right here that you can find in most big cities, and it's just a matter of learning about them and getting out and experiencing them.
Including the high rents.
Including the high rents, right? The rents going up.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think that for outsiders to be able to view Orlando in a different light, besides Mickey Mouse and besides, orange groves, I think that's really important. And what we're building here now is a culture.
Yeah.
Is definitely a culture, and I do feel it booming.
That is inclusive.
It is.
We want everybody. We want everybody. We want educators. We want artists. We want people who don't know anything about anything, or who feel they don't know anything about anything, to come in and feel like this is a safe place for them to learn and to grow.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think the message, and I hate to say it like this, but if anything, this could be considered way off, but I don't mean it to be. It was a tragedy what happened at the Pulse, right? But if you try to look at, like, was there anything good that came out of that? Maybe it would be that, even our mayor here is constantly touting inclusion and diversity, and you
agree.
see that a lot here, with whether it's the sexes, the races, the whatever, it's like people are coming together.
Absolutely. You notice it even in the colors that they're using around the city.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know.
And the creative project.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because ultimately we do have a pretty diverse community here, and that's what makes it fun. You know, I mean, there's so many cool restaurants and cool spaces to go check out and everything, you know, and you know, someday the rest of the world will catch up, I think, and they'll realize that, you know, Orlando is a lot more, but again, it's got to start with that little spark. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, even if a big company like Apple or something like that moved here, which would be cool, it would create a lot of jobs and everything, but that's not going to just all of a sudden elevate us to a, you know, Chicago or San Francisco. I mean, it's still, you know, has a lot to do with the people, but yeah, I think most people that come here do experience that and feel good about what they see when they come here.
Yeah, I agree, and I think part of the collective group of eclectic individuals that have now come together is because I guess a lot of people move to Orlando from other places, and I feel like a lot of the culture gets brought in from so many different sources.
Yeah.
We have
add to the pot,
and
like
I think
seasonings.
that's so much more fun because, like, for example, in other cities where they already have this booming city going on in there, I feel like a lot of them are, and not all of them, but a lot of them are from that city. From Orlando, it's like, where are you from? Not from here.
Right.
Most people are not even from here.
But that's changing a lot. Like,
That
I'm
is
starting
changing.
to meet a lot
Now,
more people
yes,
now.
you're
It's like,
meeting
yeah,
more
I grew
locals
up
that were
here.
raised here, yes.
You know, and it's like, and I wanted to stay.
And that means they're coming out of the woodwork because because they wanted to stay.
Yes.
Because they recognized that it was a value.
But you're absolutely right. I
Yes.
mean, you know, you find people
We're
from all
pulling
over.
it from everywhere.
But I mean, even look at what you guys are doing here on Third Thursdays. You know, it's like this is the game space whose focus is on interactive media and gaming, and you've got a DJ out there like playing cool music. You've got
very cool music.
yeah, and you've got like artists setting up and talking about their art. You've got art displayed on the walls. You've kind of melded three different groups here. You know, the music, the art, and the tech communities all coming together to kind of hang out. And you know, anymore, I think it's just called entertainment. You know, you can't really put a label on it. It's just kind of like entertainment. You know, every game has music and visuals that, you know, filmmakers are getting involved, and I don't know, it's just cool to see it all kind of meld together.
And I think it's cool that the fact that our featured artist is 17 years old. Like,
Yeah.
he's young.
Yeah.
So we really want to include the youth. You know, they're the ones who are going to be pushing everything in the future. Hopefully this hits. You know, hopefully it catches. That spark does catch, and then it's fucking.
Oh my God!
And then
you
it's
said
wildfire.
You said a swear.
You know,
How dare you?
so sorry.
Well, you know what? It starts.
And then it hits. You know.
I think, and we talked about this, Tatiana, a little bit ago.
That's how you know she's comfortable.
Yeah, that it starts at an early age, and it's cool that you know, here at the Game Space they have the Lua Academy, so they're starting to expose kids to gaming technology and software development. I met Mike Felix from Black Orlando Tech at Digital Orlando last week, and he was talking about how they take their message to a lot of the schools. You've got places like Crealdi Art School over on Aloma in Winter Park that has a lot of classes for kids just to get out, and you know, they start just moving you know, paint on canvas and see what happens, but now they're being instructed. And you know, people are starting to realize that it's no longer like entertainment is no longer the place you go because you didn't get a real job. You know, people are able to really like
you can build a career off of this.
Yeah, you know, use
your
their
gifts.
passions. Yeah,
Use your gifts.
Exactly.
Let that fuel you.
And
Let
the
it feed you.
university system here, you know, moving up a couple of levels is pretty incredible too. You know,
Yes, I
and it's
agree.
not just UCF. You know, you've got Full Sail, you've got Dave's School, you've got FIA. And then the outlying areas, you know, Florida Polytechnic is right up the street. Stetson is just right up the street the other way. And, you know, they're all, you know, adding their takes on various, like, entertainment-related degree programs, be it music, be it game development, or some sort of interactive technology or something like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting where Orlando's moving, and I'll say this because I had left Orlando in 2008 because in my mind I was like, where's the culture?
Yeah. Where'd you go?
I went to New York.
Okay.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
I went to New York for a while, and I was there for 6 years. But when I came back, Orlando was an entire different world.
What is this?
Orlando was an entire different world. I was like,
yeah, where did the city go?
I'm seeing people with culture. I'm seeing people uninhibited with how they dressed. I was starting to recognize, like, wow, people are looking a little more free. And I realized it wasn't just the locals. It was the combination of the locals with those who had transferred over here from wherever they'd come from, and I don't even want to call it a melting pot because I think it's a wonderful analogy to call it kind of more like a salad. How we need each individual piece to be itself, and now we are all this eclectic.
Yeah.
It's colorful.
It's colorful. It's wonderful. It's bright. It's fresh. That's what it is. Orlando to me has become very fresh.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on that's like undiscovered. It's like you look under this rock. Oh my God, look what's happening here.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, look what's happening here. It's really incredible to find. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited for when the world discovers this.
Yeah, and for those people that are here already, and maybe you haven't gotten out and gotten really involved yet in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Ultimately, that's why we started This Is Orlando.
Yes.
So that we can expose some of these places. We're going to sit down tonight, actually, in a little bit, and talk with Jamal. And I've been trying to get him on the mic for a while, and he's just so timid. But I love that guy, and I love the passion and everything that he brings to it. But yeah, if you're not, if you're looking to get involved in something, my advice would be to look for it because it's here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk to people.
Yeah,
Activate
and
yourself.
if you don't find it, create it. And that's what a lot of these people here have done, The game space was an idea. There was a need, there was a community of gamers and, nerds, and I say that endearingly, that
Very endearingly.
Yeah, needed
I
a place.
love nerds.
Yeah, needed a place to like share their thoughts and ideas, so they created it, And there's something for everybody. You just got to look for it if you don't see it.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to build it.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited that you came here.
Yeah,
Thank you. This was really cool. I really enjoyed
us.
talking to you guys. So,
Same.
be sure to check out This Is Orlando. And,
This is Orlando. Don't forget.
If you guys have ideas for future guests, or if there's good stories out there that you have a good story that you would like to share and let people know about your community, you can find me through my blog, and my website is just robcoble.org. Coble is spelled C-O-B-L-E, so just robcoble.org. And you can find the podcast pretty much. You can find it there. You can find it anywhere you get your podcast. So, Google, Apple,
Stitcher.
Spotify, Stitcher, Last.fm. It should be pretty much everywhere now. So thanks for the
Thank you so
opportunity.
much, Rob.
Yeah,
I appreciate
let's
it,
do
for
it
sure.
soon. Let's do it
Yes.
again soon. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll be back soon.